thank you for joining us and to our distinguished panelists. In sports and in terms of fan engagement, which is kind of at the center of everything that is growing in sports and commercialization, monetization, etc., engagement has morphed in the last few years from round numbers in decks and reports, to actual nuanced, let's say, some sort of bidirectional type of relationship in which you anchor the growth, but also the business, but also actually the feedback that you get for your properties, right? And it's data, is community building, is actually building in endemic platforms at the center of the properties without disregarding third-party platforms as well, like Meta. But it is about actually being able to have more control from the property perspective, let's say. And I wanted to start with Alok in regards to how Sorare, which is, you could consider a third-party platform in the industry, has honed in the community building process, and actually how you harness that that type of engagement and love for certain sports, and create the tools or the mechanics so you can have a nuanced relationship with the consumers and bridge the digital and the real life experience.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's super interesting. I think I'll just step back a bit and explain why I think we're able to do that with this technology, right? So I think the most important thing, and for context, before this, I worked for Uber for many years, which created a new category. But I think the most important thing there was we didn't actually change consumer behavior. Right? People wanted taxis, they wanted food delivered. We just applied technology on it and grew the market by 100 times, right? I think it's very similar at Sorare. So a sports fan wants to own a piece of the club or player or whatever they're interested in. And the sports fan has been doing that for decades, right? Whether it's cards or jerseys or season tickets. I think what new technology and blockchain allows us to do is take that same behavior and take it to the digital world, right? As soon as you do that, the market grows 100 times. Because now, like you said, there's a community aspect to it. I can show it off, I can engage with it. And the most important thing is I can add utility on top of it. Right, so I just don't take a bunch of cards or jerseys and keep it in my cupboard, and my friends come every 2 weeks and I show it off to them. Now I can show it off to 100 million people at the same time, right? So I can show it off to communities at scale that are interested in that, and I get social status, I get validation, I get appreciation for engaging in that fandom, right? Then we can also, it just affords so many more opportunities on the utility side, because what we do is we take those cards, you can play it in a fantasy game, you can win rewards. And so you show off your knowledge and understanding as well to that same community. And it's a very large, of course, I manage football, we have NBA, we have MLB as well. But these are 100, 200 million people communities online. And so it's a massive niche in the online space. It completely exists there, right? So that's how we are approaching it. Sorare already has about 3 million users, in 185 countries, 3 big sports. So we really lean into the community aspect. And I think the third and most important thing is we want to use this platform to really crash the experience between the fan and the sport, right? Historically, the best thing you could do is pay for tickets, or if you're really well connected, you could meet a player or two or something like that. Because of our exclusive IP and the fact that you have these collectibles, it really gets you access to clubs, to players, and it is only based on sort of your skill and your fandom. It's not based on who you are, where you're from, who you know. It's sort of a very even playing field, and you can enter and get that, right? So I think those are some of the high-level ideas we have around getting the fan much closer to the sport with a community aspect built in.
Absolutely. And actually, when you look at communities and servicing the fans, you need to be able to give them what they want, when they want it, and where they want it. And in that case, Gustavo, you as FIBA, you have a unique position. You are governing body of basketball globally. You have a positioning that is more distinctively known for national team plays. So you are the stewards of the passions of the planet come World Cup this summer. So, but what made you take a decisive step into esports and the launch of the eFIBA platform?
Well, first, recognizing that as FIBA, we are a governing body. We are not the brand that we want people to remember. Different than football, we don't have the video game to help us on that. We are very aware of that the idea of us placing a product in the market is through our events. So eFIBA now it's I would say a lab on the side where we can create a new brand, a new product, where we can listen and can anticipate better what the community or what the basketball fans are looking for, and that is the idea. Because our commercial program, our structure regarding our national team competitions will remain the same. eFIBA starts on the side, not within the same umbrella of events, will Eurobasket, Basketball World Cup, they will remain doing their path. eFIBA starts different, starts on a side, first after an exercise of stakeholders alignment with NBA, with 2K, Take-Two Interactive, Players Association. So I've been challenging, but at the same time rewarding, because we are able now to engage with a generation that start the story of basketball different than us. Maybe we started shooting hoops in the school, we started watching great moments in the TV, but now with the rise of technology, the story of a lot of people now started with a small screen, or started in a console, or started in way different ways. We have data now that confirms that. So the idea of talking and engaging, or like you say, building a community with the next generation is the reason of eFIBA, and the challenge now is to build it aside as a brand that can listen, a brand that can be progressive, and a brand that don't necessarily copy-paste what we have done in traditional basketball, and we are in the verge of that. And this year will be the first, I would say, the first confirmation of that as a brand, and we're now in the market.
Absolutely, and congrats, and really looking forward to see the development. And you mentioned something, not trying to do a cookie cutter model of whatever. It's unique, and jumping into professional basketball now, in the EuroLeague, 23 seasons, probably the most competitive one so far in the history of the EuroLeague. It's the second best basketball league other than the NBA. How, and this is for Alex, obviously, how is the approach of the EuroLeague in terms of changing the business paradigm? In a sense, historically, sports has always been, reliant on media, TV, and to some extent, that actually made many sports grow globally. But you didn't have the clarity on who your audience was. In reality, you had round numbers. You know that you are growing in certain countries, but you don't know who they really are. Please tell us a little bit more about the steps that the EuroLeague has done in terms of building an understanding of the audience and actually being able to double down on that direct-to-fan development to create a more sustainable platform, but most importantly, a wider business opportunity for the whole stakeholders.
Yeah, well, good morning, and thank you for having me. It's been a journey over the last 2 years. You know, we at the EuroLeague for the last years, we've been trying to adapt ourselves to the world, right? Let's put it like that. You know, we at some point, and I think the sports industry was a little bit late on that. The world became a digital world, right? And the companies in most of the industries become digital companies, digital properties. In sports, it took some more time for that change to happen, but I think we are seeing that now very evidently in many sports organizations, leagues, and clubs and federations. And at the EuroLeague, you know, I think it was around 3 years ago that we identified, obviously, that we had to take that train and put that data at the very center of that digital transformation roadmap that we defined. So it's all about data. Then, you know, we started to build the infrastructure to support that and to you know, own the fan as you mentioned, right? Know who they are, know how they behave, and get the ability to connect all those digital touch points that we have that were very fragmented in the way they were managed by different departments, different people not talking to each other, and truly get that together to then action that data, obviously in different ways, right? In servicing, to service the fans, or to service, obviously, the commercial arms of the league and of the clubs. And that is what we've done over the last 2 years, 2.5 years. And it's been a complex process. In terms of technology, it's been really complex. We just finished all of that architecture in terms of putting all that technology in place, the tech stack in place, integrating all those platforms on top of that, getting all those platforms to talk to each other, single sign-on, and all those cool technology things. So now it's about how we use that data, and we have put a number of tools on top of that, and people, obviously, because data and technology without people is nothing. So you still need the people to manage that technology and the creativity to use that data in the best way. And we've put the right marketing tools to talk to those people and to better service them with content, better service them with commercial offering, but also servicing, we've put a business intelligence unit as well that is basically, collecting all that data, analyzing all that data, and giving value to the different commercial arms at the EuroLeague and at the clubs, be it to sell sponsorships, be it to sell media packages, be it for the clubs to inform them or whatever they want to do. So that's where we are now. So we are starting. It's been a long process, but we're starting now to see the payoff of that. It's really paying off now, and I think all of the metrics that we have are definitely showing that it was worth the investment, because obviously it was not cheap either.
That's always good for shareholders when you can say, yeah, the return on investment is there. So that's check of the box. And Kike, going to you, the way I see Meta and all of your platforms is you are an essential tool for sports properties to tap into the thick end of the funnel. So you can tap into the casuals, the hardcore, you can tap to pretty much everyone, right? But in business history, there are many companies that can achieve category king status. There are even fewer companies that could be category defining status. And if you remember, not too long ago, every event that we came, we heard about the Facebook of insert whatever, the Facebook of sports, the Facebook of movies, the Facebook of music, and so on. Evidently, the Facebook is only one. And actually, that's what actually transpired is that you define a category, you're the king of the category. But in reality, and to the benefit of the audience, what does Facebook or Meta in general and all your platforms bring to the sports industry in terms of capabilities, possibilities for growth, and especially what role does product development within the company, let's say IG Reels and all its variations, into achieving that, looking towards fan engagement and community growth?
I mean, the scope is so wide that it's hard to narrow and say, what can we bring, because we can bring so many things. I think at the core of everything, we are in the business of connecting people. And that's at the core of everything we do, building community and connecting people. And that can happen via content that is happening already, how we help sports fans find the content they like. And this is something that we've seen evolving a lot in the last months and years. How we connect through tools like messaging. If you think about WhatsApp, it's probably one of the biggest platform for sports conversation, private sport conversation happening one-to-one. If you think about products that we recently launched within Facebook, like Fantasy Game, which is lightweight prediction games that we're doing on Facebook. Actually, this season we tried with EuroLeague with huge success, over 2 million people playing fantasy on Facebook, on EuroLeague, just making their picks. That's we give sport brands the possibility to connect with their audience in many different ways, especially through content, but also with different experience. And I think we are evolving more and more. And if you look at 10 years from now, I'm taking EuroLeague as another example because they're pioneering in this together with other big sports league like the NBA. Think about VR and all these new experiences that we are building. How can change the sports fans experience? It's really groundbreaking. I don't know if people in the audience had the chance to look at a game in VR, but the experience that you actually feel in there, and you're actually bringing a new experience to the users that they never had before. So I think if we go to the core, we are in connecting people and connecting brands with the people and fans. And for the fans, we are connecting them to the content they like. So we're like that middleman that can help sport brands grow their audience and fans find the content that is more interesting for them.
Absolutely. And VR is now kind of heating up. Let's see what happens in the next few months, right? And actually, staying in the content space, and I want to do the backwards route now. So with Alex and Kike mentioned the VR implementation of EuroLeague and Stadium and all the different things. How critical is that in terms of the development or the access to that product and VR for EuroLeague, and especially in the context of EuroLeague TV, which is your OTT offering?
Can you repeat? Sorry,
So how critical is VR in terms of the strategy for content, especially anchoring it in OTT or EuroLeague TV?
Well, VR, it's all about offering people different ways to experience. VR is just a piece of that. It's about offering a different way of experiencing live. There we have been testing this year with a number of formats. VR is one. Player commentary has been another one that has been very successful. Some others are not successful, so it's test and error. But VR specifically, I think, as Kike said, the first time I saw that in action when we tested that 2 years ago. It's been in the as we say in Spanish, in the oven for 2 years, cooking. I was astonished. It's incredible. Now. I believe right now for us, it's about that. It's about experimenting with a potential new way of distributing our content, because obviously today the penetration of the devices is not that big. It's growing massively every year, but it's still not there. But I think the experience is there, and as the experience gets better and the hardware gets better, lighter. I always compare this to the state of OTT technology back in in the early 2000s, right? I remember when we launched EuroLeague TV in 2007, it was not there, and the business case was not there. But we were lucky to get there early and get ready for the moment when the business case was there, and that only happened many years after that. So with VR, it's a little bit of the same philosophy, but again, it's about testing new formats. It's about servicing different audiences, not only around live, but also around non-live content, servicing different territories, different people in different territories with different cultures, different tastes, different likes. And that is the beauty of technology these days, right? That allows you to do all of that, which at the same time makes it much more complex, but you just need to have the right tools to be able to service all those fans in all those territories in your own platforms or in third-party platforms like Meta, which definitely offers that.
And I think it's key for sports organizations to be at the edge of technology innovation, because every new technology brings new opportunities. And now it's VR in terms of content, how you deliver content. But if you think about companies like Sorare, fantasy has not been disrupted in many years. It was always the same, and suddenly a technology comes in, blockchain, and the company rise and brings a whole new experience to the users and a new business model. If you don't experiment as a sport organization or as a sport team, as a sport brand, if you don't experiment with these early technologies at the beginning, you're not going to be able to monetize when the business is actually there. I compare this with the work I've done with many sports organizations with video monetization across meta platforms. If you don't start investing in producing the content, building the audience, when the monetization was a successful business, you were not ready. So you had to catch up on everything. So it's very important always for a sport organization to be at the edge of technologies. For me, that's key. And I think EuroLeague is a really good example of that.
I'll pay you afterwards.
No, but absolutely. Actually, innovation is a never-ending process. I mean, you cannot put an end to an innovation process or a digital transformation process for that matter, because every 6 months, these guys are launching new stuff, and we need to, cope with it and be able to figure out how to use it, right? And actually, going to the FIBA case, which is actually one of the stellar cases in terms of digital engagement, digital content transformation, and the amazing work that Nicolas and the group done. It is essential for a property like that. At least that's my view, because just by geographic dispersion of the communities and the groups of people and fan bases, pockets around the world that you tap, you need to actually be potentially even more present in digital than in any other media, right?
Yes, for us, innovation it cannot be a department. We need to have a mindset of innovation within the organization. Actually, the next innovation will come now. It actually will be in Madrid. The next Under-19 World Cup will be played in an LED floor. So this is a breakthrough for us. It's a before and after for sure, for the opportunity to do that. It will be the first ever competition, official competition to be played in this at national team level, to be competing in this opportunity. Imagine all the things that can come after if we start to play basketball on an LED glass. So this is one hand, but at the same time, we need also to be very careful on how to handle it, because first is focus. We need to remain focused on what we need to achieve, and be careful with data. We have been, I remember 3 years ago, having this information, a lot of data loss, the span of attention have been reduced. We need to reconsider what we're doing. We need to reconsider the highlights. People is consuming less and less and less. And we had a very good project with Twitch, and they told us, guys, be careful. If the content is good, they can spend hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. Our average in the platform for basketball is more than 3 hours. So be careful on how to read it, on how to do it. So if you put together this mindset of innovation with the right data, but also with the right people understanding how you can listen what is going on out there, then you will be able to draft it in the proper way. If you, as a result of that, because we wanted to do some things with esports a long time ago, but then we had to understand how this could be beneficial for National Federation. This is our main stakeholder. How this could be beneficial for NBA and for 2K. They have a business model where we had to jump in. This cannot be our product now. So for us, it was more a management of just stakeholder, like I said before, but also with the mindset, with the proper mindset to achieve what you mentioned about digitalization, fan engagement in the proper setup. So it's a process. It's sometimes things can get longer in the oven to get cooked. Sometimes they get overcooked, but it's a never-ending process. And I believe while you have the proper team and the right mentality, things will be pen around. And we keep having companies like Sorare and Meta will be pushing us to take the right decision in order to connect in the right way.
Absolutely. It's a matter of being authentic to whatever you're doing for your audience, including the stakeholders, but also being consistent, which is actually the most difficult part. Exactly. Because of budgets, because of resources, because of focus, because of many things, right? Look, we are, I don't know if we're out of it. I hope we are out of it, but we are or witness a massive market correction in the whole Web3 space, right? Yeah. But still, companies like Sorare has been resilient, kept growing, kept diversifying. And me, that even though I work in basketball, like many of you know, I'm a baseball fan. I'm a pro-Dominican, so baseball is our thing. So I'm a consumer, I must say that. You've been able to diversify also and been able to engage very different audience bases. And if you look at the case of the US, for example, how Web3 technology can enable that cross-pollination across different pockets of people, and how we could eventually see a seamless transition into the consumption and the ownership of being part of those sports.
Look, I think one of the things that, so where you started, talking about what we saw, I think one of the things that sets Sorare apart and why I think the crypto winter wasn't as bad for it is because we did two things upfront, which we believed in. One is we provided utility, right? So in any bull run, there's speculation. So, speculators will come. But the point is we always held the line on, look, this has to be an actual product where people have fun. And that showed in the numbers. So, prices, of course, go down in a bear market, but the engagement went nowhere. Retention is the same, people still engage, so I think that's one, the consumer experience. And two is the technology itself. While the concept of the blockchain technology and the ownership is very important, and people subconsciously pay money for that because now they feel a sense of ownership. It's not just something I buy, which is on Sorare's database, and if Sorare shuts down tomorrow, I lose it. But they understand intuitively that I own this. The difference is, though, we never led with that. We never said, hey, this is NFTs are cool, buy NFTs, right? So it was always, look, you're a fan of Real Madrid, you want to own this, it's yours forever. The technology is in the background, right? So I think that is the second most important thing is you always start, and companies like Meta do this really well. You start with the consumer experience and not with what's hot in the market, right? So I think that's what helped us a little bit. And the next time the bull run comes, the fact that you're a blockchain company will help you again, blah, blah, but that's a part of life. So I think that's one thing. And then to the other point you made, look, people enter with their favorite sport because that's what they understand. But once they get the concept, they're like, I watch a bit of basketball. So, why not expand to there? I watch a bit of baseball like you, why not expand to there? So once the concept is understood with something they are familiar with, they feel much more comfortable, expanding out and experimenting with some other sports.
I couldn't agree more. And I was thinking and talking before about the category definition. Whenever you define a category by the technology, it's a bad start. Because it's very difficult to get mainstream understanding on what it is. So NFT became the synonym with the product, but it was the underlying tech. And actually, now we don't even call it that. We call it digital collective.
That's good.
So, guys, I think this has been amazing. I think we could spend another hour here speaking, but I definitely want to thank you, Kike, Alex, Gustavo, and Alok, and all of you for joining us. And this has been great.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It was great.